What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to take a look at this brand new 2022 Ram 1500 Rebel. Huge shout out and thank you to Benson Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for providing this new Rebel for today's video. Check them out, I'll have their website linked below. And the model that we're looking at today is a crew cab 4x4 finished off in flame red clear coat, has the Rebel Level 1 equipment group and an MSRP at $58,500. Underneath the hood, this utilizes the 5.7 liter Hemi V8 engine with the eTorque system. It cranks out 395 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. The engine is also paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission and sends the power to all four wheels through the four-wheel drive system. And with a curb weight at 5,300 pounds and running on a 23-gallon fuel tank, you can expect 18 miles per gallon in the city with 22 out on the highway. Overall length is 232.9 inches with a wheelbase at 144.5, width is 82.1, and height is 79.2 inches. Ground clearance is also 9.1 inches, and this features Bilstein suspension in all four corners. Max towing capacity for the 1500 Ram with the eTorque V8 is 12,750 pounds, and payload capacity is up to 2,300 pounds. If we take a look at the styling with the Ram Rebel, this has a really aggressive front end. You can see the massive Ram logo written out and a huge opening to allow cooling to the 8-cylinder engine. You can see all the plastic black trim in the upper portion of the grille, and it goes through the center portion as well. The lower bumper is finished off in the same color, and you can see more of this aggressive design for the mesh in the lower grille. There's an aluminum portion in the front portion of the bumper to give it some extra style, and you'll see the steel tow hooks on the farthest sides. We get a set of fog lights in the farthest sides and LED daytime running lights all around these headlights. They have black housings and look very flush within this front bumper. And you can even see the bulge in the hood, how it goes forward and rolls over to the front portion of this grille. I love the power dome design. You can see the heat extraction vents on the farthest sides as well as the one closest to the windshield. We get the 1500 logo with Hemi eTorque and a lot of really cool contours within the hood to give this an aggressive front end appearance. And then moving to the side profile, we get a set of 18-inch wheels in all four corners wrapped in a Wrangler Goodyear tire. They have a machine silver satin black color and they're a 6-spoke design. They look nice and aggressive and contrast well, especially with this red paintwork. You can see that same plastic trim for the fender flares to give it that off-road design. We also get the same color down on your running boards and a blacked out Ram logo along the door. There's a sharp body line in the lower portion of the doors that flares upwards on the bedside as well as this front fender. And then there's a clean body line going from your headlights all the way towards the bedside to the taillights. The overall proportions being the shorter bed with the full four doors looks really nice. I think it's proportioned well to have a nice stout appearance. We also get a set of black door handles and black mirror caps with an LED turn signal all integrated and then all black trim around these windows. And then moving to the rear end of this Ram Rebel, you can see the LED taillights all integrated into the bedside. They have a smoked out housing and they say Ram. On the back side of the tailgate, we get a huge 4x4 logo on the right with Ram right in the center. There's also the Rebel logo over on the left side. You can see a standard backup camera as well as the tailgate release handle in the top center, and then a black rear bumper to match that front. The trailer hitch is right in the center with all the connections to the right of the license plate, and we get an integrated dual exhaust with black chrome tips. So there's a good look at the exterior and some of the capabilities with the Ram Rebel. This is a really sweet looking truck. It's kind of like a baby TRX aside from some of the suspension as well as the supercharged motor, but pretty cool nonetheless. We have Ram's key fob, you get the Ram name twice on it. With the vehicle already unlocked, all I gotta do is grab the door handle and we can check out this really cool interior with a lot of red accents. You can see all of the two-tone designs within this Ram Rebel all throughout the interior. If we go ahead and take a look at the door panel now, you can see the black and the red. We get dual-tone stitching down here on the armrest with white and red, some good padding as well for your armrest, and a grab handle, all of your window controls and mirror controls, and then aluminum color release handle. Really cool red accents with like an anodized aluminum color, a carbon fiber type design as well, and then a little bit of storage all down below. Moving inside the interior, you can see the red along the side of the seats with all of your power controls. A really cool vinyl material, has a nice texture to it. And then we get fabric in the center. All the color contrast stitching looks really cool. and you can see that same design going up these backrests. We get this vinyl material on the farthest sides of the bolsters with the stitching, and then a smooth leather type design in the center, and then all the fabric. Rebel is written out with stitching, then more of this cool texture all the way up to the headrest with more of the two-tone. You can even see the side of the seats. Moving to the steering wheel, we have leather on the top and bottom with perforated leather on the sides, all of the red accents and red stitching. And then now inside the Rebel, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. V8 roars to life with the LCD screen right in the center. If we take a look at the gauge cluster now, we have the analog speedometer to the right with your fuel level, and then the engine tach and coolant temperature on the left. The LCD screen right in the center is controlled using the buttons on the left of the steering wheel. If we go ahead and take a look at everything now, I can scroll down through this left side. You can see some messages information. You also have the screen setup that will come up. We have a digital speedometer. Underneath that, there's vehicle information. You can scroll left and right for this menu. You can see tire information and a lot more things that will come up about how the vehicle is running with all the vitals. So it's great to see that screen within a truck like this, as well as your temperatures. Continuing down, you can see fuel economy. Then we also get trip information and then more features like that. So really cool setup, how much things you get on that center screen. We have cruise control settings to the right, with more of the controls in the bottom right corner. And then we have the turn signal stock to the left with all the windshield wiper controls. To the left of the actual steering wheel, we have your controls for the headlights and interior lighting, more red trim around one of the air vents, and some cool contrast stitching around the gauge cluster bezel. You can see this leather material for the entire dashboard with a little bit of storage up top and a 12 volt. And then you can see more of the contrast stitching and the Rebel logo. We do get two different glove boxes, one up here, and then the traditional one down in the lower portion. If we go ahead and take a look at the center, we get that diamond plated carbon fiber type look design for this trim, and then more of the red. And now moving to this smaller HD screen for the infotainment setup. It is touchscreen. We can tap this icon for your phone integration. This one right here goes into a lot of the settings within the truck. You can see the My Profile, all the different things that will come up to kind of adjust how you'd like the vehicle to work. You have the display information that you can control, safety guidance, and things like that, clock and time. Then a few more things. Trailer settings right here you can adjust. Then all of your backup cameras and things like that. If I do go ahead and put the vehicle into reverse, your backup camera will come up. We have a nice HD view. You can tap this magnifier glass as well to get a top-down view for your trailer hitch, which is a pretty cool touch. Then going back into park. Beneath the screen, we have some manual controls for all of your climate, heated seats, heated steering wheel, the radio on off, as well as volume, and then tuning and scrolling to the right. We have the fan speed, temperature, as well as all the different zones. And then down below, we have some toggles for your traction control, as well as the tow and haul mode. And then we have your brake gain over here that you can adjust. Then your drive select right here. You can see the rotary dial, all of your four-wheel drive indicators, engine start-stop feature, as well as the downhill control and the axle lock. So pretty cool setup for everything, pretty simple for this particular spec. Down below, we have a wireless phone charging mat and some USB ports, and then two cup holders, as well as some storage for some change. You can grab this upper button and pull this all the way out of the way to reveal a ton more storage space. Very nice the way they have capitalized on the interior. We have more of this red trim, all the contrast stitching with the leather material and this vinyl design. Grabbing this top button, you can open this up for a little bit of storage space. Then when I close it and grab the lower button, the entire center console will open up, and you can see just how much more storage we have in the center console. Super cool how many things you can fit in here. And then one last look at the overall interior. This two-tone design looks fantastic. Really screams the name Rebel. I think Ram did a good job giving this particular spec kind of a fun interior. Not so much all the luxuries like you'll see in the other Rams with that huge screen, but nonetheless pretty sporty with the red. Moving to the rear seats, I can open up the door. The door panel is finished off just like we saw up front with all the red and black. I love the two-tone stitching. That's a really cool touch. Then all the same materials. Moving our way inside, we have the same design as well with all the red stitching, the vinyl and leather, and then the fabric. Really cool bench seater back here. You even get two-tone along these headrests. Spinning around, the backs of these front seats are all finished off in red, and we do get some storage behind them. There's air vents in the center, as well as two cup holders, more of that same trim you saw on the dashboard, and then the storage right in the center. If we move to these seats, we can lift the fronts up, lock them into place to reveal a lot of storage underneath the seats. We can do that with both sides as well. You can get them up out of the way, and you can see a nice low flat floor. So a really good use of space for this full crew cab. Then all you gotta do is grab the seat, give it a firm pull, and it'll lock back down into normal position. All right, so sitting now in the back of the 1500, this is a pretty spacious truck. Of course, the full four doors gives me a ton of space. I'm 5'11". I have the driver's seat set at my height, and I have like 7 or 8 inches of knee room, and my feet are fitting very comfortably. The recline is at a pretty good angle to actually be back here for a long distance. And then headroom-wise, both front and rear, I have about 4 inches, I would say. Pretty comfortable. Armrest is in a pretty good place. It's a little skinny, but still pretty usable. And then if we take this center seat, we can pull this out. We have a nice armrest here with that same vinyl design and two-tone stitching, and then the 2 cup holders. And then I also like, we have the sliding rear glass back here, and the headrest will fold down for better visibility for the driver. We get your dome lights up top, and then hooks on each side. And then to move on to the bed space, I can just go ahead and walk up to the grab handle, press the button. It's soft open, so you don't have to worry about holding it. This has a painted bed in here, and you do get a tow hook on each side to strap down different items in the vehicle. And then the tailgate doesn't weigh too much. With one hand, I can easily close it up. All right, guys, so we are setting off now in the 2022 Ram Rebel, the 1500. This is a really sweet looking truck. When I hopped into the interior, all the red accents really jump out. It's a darker red, so it's not crazy bright. Not sure how it's gonna come off on camera, but it's a nice subtle red to stand out but not look tacky. And then the exterior, it's so bold with all the black trim to it and just looks really sweet overall. So we got the mild hybrid system and the V8. Effortlessly gets right up to speed. The 8-speed transmission does a really good job delivering the power and then coming to a standstill. While it's a heavy truck, the brakes do a really good job. We got the disc brakes all around, so that's going to keep everything nice and cool and adequately get the truck down. But just sitting in here, getting my bearings with everything, it's a really comfortable truck. These seats have a lot of padding. I like the use of material. I like how it's not trying to just be nice fake leather. It's got the vinyl and the cloth to make it look cool, look rugged, so it's not trying to be a luxurious truck. I like the sporty touch. Of course, the red I just can't get enough of. But armrests are in a great place, and it's just a pleasant truck to sit in. You have a huge windshield in front for good visibility, and you can see that power dome design for that hood. I think that's a really cool touch. Left and right, I mean, you have a lot of windows, and then over your shoulders, pickup trucks pretty much always have really good visibility, so you don't really have any blind spots. Getting up to some speed again, I mean, this truck is gonna do what you need to do. It's not quite a TRX, of course, but nonetheless, it's a pretty quick truck. The overall ride quality and things like that, it really feels like a solid truck. Hitting bumps and everything, it doesn't feel bouncy, and I like how this has the Bilstein suspension, and then you get coil springs in back rather than the leaf springs. I think that actually helps ride quality to where it feels less bouncy. A lot of trucks nowadays, they get bouncy feeling when they're not loaded. This one feels pretty stable. We're on a bumpy road, hitting some bumps and everything, and honestly, it's nice and smooth. As far as road noise, we're going 40 miles an hour. The tires, you don't really hear at all. Pretty impressive for an off-road oriented tire. I like how they didn't put something crazy on it, because obviously you don't want mud blockers from day one in this truck. But with these tires and everything, the suspension, it's a smooth driving truck. You can drive it every day, go to work and back. But then with the capabilities and everything, the 4-wheel drive, the extra ground clearance and things like that, you can hit the trails, do some off-roading, and actually use this for a truck. You can use it for a work truck as well. You have the huge bed, the towing capacities. So it's a truck that can kind of do it all. And a lot of people like how Rams, they have that luxury aspect to them. While this one doesn't have all the crazy features, it still has that solid luxurious feel of like just the build quality and things like that. So it's a pretty good overall truck to where you can kind of do it all in it. I like that aspect. The fit and finish and everything you touch in it, it feels pretty good. I like the leather along the steering wheel, has a nice look and feel to it. And then like I said, the interior I already love with just the red accents, but everything feels pretty high quality. The plastic that you do touch, it feels sturdy. It doesn't feel just like cheap plastic. So I think they did a good job just making it a pretty solid truck to drive. So then switching to the POV, we're gonna do as much off-roading as we can do in a brand new truck, but just taking it on a little bit of an off-road spot off the road. We have a little bit of a curb to get over to get back onto the street. But suspension, I mean, I know Bilstein makes an amazing suspension system. Even just doing that, you know, going no miles an hour, I mean, it's pretty smooth feeling. You can tell the suspension does a lot in this truck to make it feel pretty solid. So we'll go ahead and just get up to some speed, feel out the eTorque system. That thing is pretty peppy. You don't really feel its weight given the system. I think that's pretty cool how they're adding that type of technology into a full-size truck like this. But then one last look at the interior. Like I said, all the red, you know, it doesn't look crazy tacky or anything like that. It fits the Rebel really well. I definitely like that aspect to it. But now back driving on this in some tighter roads, you can feel its size. It doesn't feel that wide. I feel like I can stay in my lane pretty well. Then we got some train tracks coming up. We'll go over them at a reasonable speed, kind of feel out the suspension. Going about 35 miles an hour, hitting this. Honestly, it takes it really well. You can tell it's a really solid truck. And the Rebel just takes it up a notch to add that solid feeling, the off-road, and just a fun to drive, cooler truck than normal. So I think that's about it then for the 2022 Ram Rebel 1500. A really cool truck all around. Huge shout out and thank you once again to Benson, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing this Rebel for today's video. Check them out. They have a huge selection of the 2022 lineup, so definitely check them out. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video.